Paint.
Ooh, that one might have been on stream, Sela. That one might have been on stream. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Delve Requisite. Happy Tuesday. Depending on the timing of when I hit the go live button, and some things that were just yelled, I apologize. Or, nothing happened. Don't worry about it. Hey. Here we are again with the crew of the Grimm's Folly for another episode of Delve Requisite, the pirates portion of our campaign. Before we get into tonight's episode, let's take a moment real quick and thank some sponsors. Tonight's episode of Delve Requisite and Proficiency Bonus at Large are brought to you in part by Little Dragon Corp and Cardboard Castle. You can type !Little Dragon or !CCG into chat at any point during tonight's stream to get a link to those websites for those two lovely sponsors. Little Dragon Corp, of course, is a Canadian-based dice company and purveyor of fine tabletop dicey goods. Oop, here's my green screen inappropriate Little Dragon Corp dice. Put that there. You too can obtain some fine dice from Little Dragon Corp if you're in need of a new set, perhaps. Or perhaps you're not in need of a new set, but you have a crippling dice addiction and you can't control yourself. You can at least take some of the financial burden off of yourself by getting 10% off your order and entering our code PROBONUS at checkout. That's Little Dragon Corp, promo code PROBONUS at checkout for 10% off your order. As Michael makes it rain. We can't see the lower portion of his like screen now, where he just has made like a huge mess of dice all over his table that he's gonna have to clean up.
And it's directly into his lap.
Yeah, he has a D4 like sticking out of his leg. He has to pull out like a caltrop. Anyway, that's Little Dragon Corp, and Cardboard Castle is, of course, a brick and mortar tabletop games and RPG store located in the United States in Evans, Georgia. But fear not, if you are not local to Evans, Georgia, you can still shop online at their website and purchase all of your tabletop gaming needs. Hello, Tag Fitty. Welcome to the stream. Let's see how quickly Tag Fitty can... Well, let's see how quickly we can get you caught up with the game, Tag Fitty, because this is the portion where I recap what we're doing, because none of these idiots remember either. So...
Pirates.
Piracy!
Hold on. One person remembers what we're doing.
Well, yeah,
The
that's
rest
true.
of us don't.
One person remembers, and better than I do, actually, so there is that. Anyway, we last left off. The crew of the Grimm's Folly has sort of successfully completed a what would we call this this endeavor?
Self-inflicted heist.
A heist, a sort of a reconnaissance mission, little bit, slight terrorism.
Freedom fighting.
Freedom, yeah. Following the trail of a slaving operation that seems to be targeting a very specific type of trained warrior from the island nation of Naporia, home of party member Nimue. Following clues about this slaving operation, the party came to the Ignean imperial city of Umiath Dorai, where they discovered that a mysterious figure going by the pseudonym Pendragon is employing the Ignean imperial slave trade to try and find, capture, and collect Naporian lunar warriors for some unknown purpose. You guys, through a rather nerve-wracking ploy which involved the capture or the faux capture of party member Nimue, you guys learned that an individual by the name of Arcanist Thesine, working out of a establishment called Serengras in the city of Umyath Darai, was experimenting upon the lunar warriors that were brought to him, essentially testing them. You learned that of those that had been brought before Nimue, only about half survived the process that he was putting them through. Those that failed were converted into these abominations of arcane and psionic and sort of scientific or arcano-science monstrosities. Those that seemed to be able to withstand this were sent elsewhere to wherever it is, apparently, that this Pendragon was. The group of you killed the scene, rescued Nimue, along with the former head of the Ordinum Libri's enclave in the city of Umyath Darai, who probably has a story to tell about, what happened to her, as well as a band of orcish warriors of the Longtooth tribe, who had been, who are led by their chieftain Mokral. Escaping from the city in a daring sort of like mad dash through the streets back to your sequel, you fled the city by the skin of your teeth with your fellow escapees in tow, and made an escape from the harbor, where you discovered another upsetting truth, in that the Ignean Empire, in the shipyards here at Umyath Darai, are apparently building some sort of armada for something. Hundreds of warships, recently furbished, recently minted warships, docked sort of around the bay, around the sort of curvature of the bay here at Umyath Darai. Fleeing several ships, you made your way back to the Waiting Grimm's Folly, fought off a few pursuers, and fled into the night. Where you took some time at the end of last session, to sort of decide what your next move was going to be. I believe we left it the group of you, or collectively, you guys decided that your first order of business was to return to Naporia, to inform them what you had learned here, to return the sequel, the vessel that you borrowed from them for this mission, and to bring back the body of a lunar warrior that you recovered from Thesine's laboratory. In tow, you have Mokral and his surviving warriors, who have agreed at least to go with you to Naporia, and then, to be dropped off somewhere, along the coast of Honorand after that, so they may return to their village. The Ordinum member, whose name I will totally find, but Brittany probably will get it before I do.
Was it Aora Vesta?
Yes, Aora Vesta has asked for a sort of like a meeting with you, as she has some things that she would like to ask of you now as she is aboard the ship. And we had at the very end of last week's session, we had two little sort of subtle perception checks to notice a few things, and the two things that were noticed were that your I don't even know what to call her as crew member, probably is not the appropriate term. All the way to the top, I believe her name is like Kirsaka or something like that. Let's see. I should know these things better. Yes.
How to say it is completely...
Kiryiskra, the Sahaujan princess that is aboard your ship, because you killed everybody else that she knew, So she has this bit of a strange relationship where she is kind of decided to travel with you, ostensibly so that she can kill you all later. But you won't let that deter you from adopting NPCs. So you're working on that. Somebody, either Sela or Nimue, spotted her kind of like watching Mokral and his warriors. And Rowan and Sela had kind of a heart-to-heart conversation.
Me and Nimue.
Oh, was it not Sela?
No, it was me
Rowan
and
and
Nimue.
Rowan and Nimue had a heart-to-heart conversation, and also observing that conversation was your halfling guest of honor. What do you guys have them put as on your?
Anna? The VIPs?
That's a VIP. I knew they had like a ridiculous name on your guys' note sheet. The VIPs, yeah. Kenna, the young female halfling. You guys caught sort of like watching you guys discuss feelings and processing past traumas and things of that nature. So that is where we left off. You guys are. I'll turn it over to you. If you guys want to pick up sort of real time, we'll say it is the morning following your like escape and the events of last session. So you can either pick up real time with like character conversations between each other and NPCs that you want to have, or if you have nothing, like we can sort of pick up in like time lapse mode as you sail for Naporia.
I'll take a long rest.
Oh yes, everybody give yourself. Everybody gets a long rest. You rested over the course of the night. Anna Cromwell and some of her like crew probably didn't get a long rest last night, as they have been repairing the damage that the Grimm's Folly took. You guys, I do know because you were discussing it before, you guys do have marked down, like, you have used pretty much all of your like materiel to repair most of the damage that the ship took in your dogfight, leaving your supplies of things like wood and nails and canvas and stuff like that depleted, but the ship in pretty decent seaworthy shape. So it is in your hands. What would you guys like to do?
I will probably do what I wanted to do at the end of last session, but Captain was a little busy and he wasn't answering his door, so I'm now gonna go knock on his door one more time, and I'm not going to stop until he wakes up and opens the door. Captain!
You might be muted, Murderbeard.
Ah, shit.
Oh no! I broke Nimue's camera.
Oh no! What
Jeez,
happened?
This is what happens when I knock on my laptop. It hits me. Oh no. 1 second.
That's what you get for waking a man up.
I did it. Captain?
I will open the door.
I would like you to have a meeting with our new crew members.
The orcs?
The orcs and then the Libra lady.
Okay, what would you like me to have a meeting about? I don't exactly speak their language.
Well, I can translate, but I think they just want to get a gauge on what our plan is going forward after Naporia and where we could potentially drop them.
Sounds like something we should discuss.
As a group, but you were like...
Because I don't know.
I know, but you were a little busy last night, and so just thought I'd bring it up to you that maybe we have a sit down because I wanted to discuss with you.
Sure. Why don't we call a cabinet meeting, discuss
Sure.
with the important crew members what our plans are, and then address the new.
Yeah, they're fine coming with us to Naporia, but I think they want a little bit more of a plan of action after that.
At that point, I guess like I guess there's probably some sort of bell, like a for
Dinner
like,
bell?
essentially like calling like the officers specifically? To like I imagine it's a deeper bell than like a normal bell. Yeah.
You just
Okay.
yell like, "Hey, fuckers!"
Yeah.
real loud.
Hold on. Let me just summon the. Let me just ring the summoning bell. Hey, fuckers! Ding. Okay.
Tea Kettle at that Tea Kettle like leans over from the top of the crow's nest and goes like, it makes like a perfect bell noise for you. Just gives you a thumbs up and then like retreats back to the whatever she was doing
I
up
guess
there.
it probably should have been ahoy, fuckers.
Boy.
Ahoy.
Thixus will make his way to the captain's quarters.
Yeah, I will too.
Okay. Is this just the party members here, or are you wanting any of your like NPC officers present as well? Like
Probably
your
just
Anna
us.
Cromwell
Like
is your bosun, Vadrick your
Apora
surgeon,
Dazan.
Apora,
yeah.
any of them? Do you want are you wanting any of them, or is this just the 5 of you?
Well, I guess that's up to the crow.
Probably just the 5 of us is fine.
Inner
yeah.
circle.
Inner circle. Yeah.
Cool.
Ixis, you know you're okay, Drusilla like pinch his bicep. You're looking a bit hard, dear. I think the sea is doing you well.
Oh, really? You think so?
Yeah, I'll grab his face and I like look into his eyes and then I'll like pull one of his eyelids up and I'll yes, your eyes are a lot clearer. I mean, they're just one color, but they're like shinier.
Do you see anything else while you're looking in there? I mean, my eyes were watering real bad earlier. And...
Uh, you know what?
Uh-oh.
Can I druid craft like a little bit of water around his eye? I'm gonna give him some druid eye drops. I was just trying to give Russell time to type something.
And thus, Visine was invented.
Yes. It's done.
Hey Matt, can you
Cannon.
turn Russell's volume up on your end because his mic is like messed up and he apparently can't increase his own volume, but apparently he's very low on stream. Sorry.
I cannot. He's at 200% volume on my Discord.
All right, the whole rest of the night is gonna be yelled. Buckle up.
Yeah, he's on 200% for me too, and he's real quiet.
Yeah, you're real quiet.
I got a maxed on mine too.
Nonsense.
Not ideal, honestly.
Welcome to the Murder Beard ASMR podcast.
He just immediately hops off Twitch.
Anyway,
Thank you, Scylla. I appreciate that.
Got it.
okay. So I've called this meeting at the suggestion of Nimue. I think we should discuss what our plans are post Naporia stop. Cool, good talk.
Well, what do you mean?
Yeah, what seems to be the problem?
Well, the names. The lady wants to go one place, and I think the orcs want to go another. They didn't actually tell me where the orcs wanted to go. They wanted to try and find the rest of their tribe, I believe.
I don't think we got into it that specifically. They just like, they're basically just like,
Where
like,
does she
just
want
like
to go? She
just
wants
make
to go-
land in Honorand and just we'll figure it out
Right.
from there is basically their thing.
Where does she want to go?
You guys have not had that conversation with her yet, so like
Okay.
she wants to talk to you about some stuff,
Okay.
but you don't have that information yet because you haven't spoken to her.
All right. So should we have like a general meeting with the two of them, or should we do it separate by separate to figure out who wants what?
I
'cause-
don't think it really matters. I think they're friendly enough after the Great Escape, so I think we can have both of them come in at once. And if Nimue you'll translate for McCrawl, then
yeah, I could easily
the
do
rest of
that.
us can talk with her.
Yeah.
I mean, no matter what we do, I think we need to make sure that we keep on moving because did you see the size of that armada that was
Yeah.
going on back there? There's
Something
Is there
weird going on.
somebody we should be telling about
there's
that? 'Cause
something big
that's
going on.
yeah, that's
I
unnerving.
We
I don't know
probably
who to tell.
probably need to go back to Glasgow and let the other pirate captains know about that.
All right.
Couldn't we just send messenger sparrows, birds?
You
I
have
can
your
do
you have
that.
your you Sela can do it. You also have your
We have a couple that
you have
The guy-
the one
yeah.
that
Yeah.
Gareth Blackwell gave you. You have a
Mm-hmm.
messenger
We could even do that now. I don't know if
seabird.
there's anyone somewhere on the mainland that we could tell too. That I don't know who we would tell about the Ignians, but at least the pirates while we head to
Una
Naporia.
That
or
was a good start.
Captain Thorn, probably our best
Yeah.
bets.
Yeah. Would they listen to Una if she said she had a message from you, Captain?
Yeah, probably.
Well, why don't we just use the messenger sparrow for Blackwell?
Doesn't matter either way, I guess. As long as the information gets there.
Matt, a GM question for you. When we saw this armada, is this something like ships were basically already assembled and just gathering, or does it look like this has been like something that was in the process of being done for the past extensive amount of time?
It looks like they have been building these ships.
Okay.
So like you saw a lot of ships, and they from what it was dark and it was brief, but there was a lot of them there. A lot of them look freshly built, and you did see like that there are shipyards there where like they are still constructing more. So like it very much looks like they are like at the perhaps like tail end of a long process of like building this huge like force of ships for something.
Okay, got it.
Don't like that.
I guess we can talk to Aora and McCrawl and kind of figure out if there's anyone else. They might know who we should tell about this Ignian force. I mean, Aora might know somebody to tell about that too. We do have 2 birds,
Well,
and we're heading to Naporia.
Wasn't Aora there in that city? Would maybe she know more information about what's possibly causing this armada to be constructed?
Yeah. We can try, and if she doesn't know, she might know somebody in her group that's not in the Ignian Empire to send word that there's this force happening.
Yeah. I think my only request is that we somehow try to follow the lead to Pendragon. I don't know how we're going to find this person, but
Oh, we're following that. Yeah.
yeah, that's my only request. Other than that, we can drop them wherever they need to be dropped after
Could
we visit Naporia.
I was gonna ask. I don't know how willing or what the capabilities are, but is there anyone on Naporia that could take them elsewhere, or do we need to be dropping them off places?
Potentially, but I don't really want to put that burden on them. It's something I'm dragging home.
I get it. Yeah.
Likely
With
need all of
everything
the
going on,
defenses there.
yeah, with
Yeah,
everything
that
going
too.
on, I'm and especially knowing that Napoleons and Lunar Warriors specifically would probably be the ones to escort safely, and they're being targeted. I'd rather them come
Stay
with
home.
me.
Yeah,
Yeah,
rather than
like they stay home and we escort since I'm already halfway in it.
Okay, that makes
I
sense. I
I
just
don't
didn't know what
I
the
yeah, I don't want to further that burden. I don't know what else is going to happen.
that makes
As
sense.
it is, we have to come home with bad news. I don't want to ask more from these people. then there's going to be a period of grief. I don't think asking them for additional escort help is necessary at this moment if we are able.
Okay, that makes sense. Just didn't know what the best way to go about it was if we're
Maybe if we weren't bringing home a fallen warrior, maybe. But
understandable.
I don't want to do that to them with
I
this.
can-
Yeah. I will take care of that. It's I asked you to save them, so oh
Oh, it's early this time. Wow.
no.
Oh boy.
that
Here,
was
hold on.
fun.
If I.
Oh
Oh.
hello.
It's coming back. There he is.
Here he is.
Am I any
Oh
louder?
no!
Oh!
Oh no!
What?
Oh no.
What is happening?
Oh no!
Our
What's
GM is played by a ghost.
I'm
right
still
now?
here. I don't know what happened to.
you know what's
You're-
strange is his video is still showing up on the stream.
Can you guys hear me?
Like-
Yeah, we can hear you.
Yeah, I'm
Our other
here.
account dropped out.
I don't know what caused that.
Am I any louder than before?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, because apparently I looked at like just trying like resetting the voice
Yeah, turn it
settings
on and off
completely
again.
in general in Discord helps. So that bumped me out of call and back in. So when in
The
doubt,
sh-
reset everything.
The stream looks a little funky, like Thixis and
It's-
Scylla are like off
It's
center.
because my
It's be-
camera is not turned
yeah.
on.
Yeah.
I'm restarting
Well,
Discord.
fixed
Much
one
like
problem,
an
broke
old
something
timey,
BRB, y'all.
much like our father used to claim about many things in the old days. Russell and I do share one internet that we pass between us.
Yeah. Father used to say that growing up, his family only had one pair of legs.
Oh, whoa.
Yeah,
His father would get home
father
from
would take him
work,
to
he'd pass
work,
the
and
legs
then he'd
around.
come around and pass the legs around.
When he got home from work, he'd pass the legs around. Usually his mother needed him to go to the store. Only had one pair of legs.
Oh boy, howdy.
You know, Thixis, I think there's something in your other eye. Hold on.
Visine is canon in this game.
You know what? You know who I blame for all this? Jason. Because Jason was the one who had me screw around with a bunch of voice settings.
You
and
know,
then after
like-
he did that, it was all broken.
when they were saying that, what the well, Discord just crashed again.
In,
When they
out,
were
in,
saying-
out, in, out.
When they were saying that, like, oh, Russell's real quiet and we can't hear it, I was like, this is definitely Jason's fault somehow.
I think it might have to do something with voice mod for our Friday game. So
You know
that
what?
might
You
also
just
be where
got
our problem started.
you just got Bardic Inspiration, Russ, for your mic volume.
Yeah, because he knows it's his fault.
I gotta put you back down now.
All right. Everybody seems to be visible. So I don't know what was going on because this has become a disaster. I don't think I was involved, actually. I think you guys are still just talking, right? Like, I'm not here.
Yeah.
We were just discussing how we were going to go
was
about
deep
this.
in-
We
Yeah,
were
I
like,
think
we're
we
not
were-
gonna ask for more like Lunar Warriors and Reporters to do stuff because we're about to bring them like a dead body, and also like everyone in the world wants to capture them and turn them into weird things that spew purple vomit. So,
Yeah, that.
Most efficient recap ever.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
I'm gonna have Victoria do the recaps from now.
Yeah, but if you let that happen, it'll be like, okay, the recap is pee pee poo poo. Let's begin. That'd be so- recap.
That's what you meant?
A bunch of stuff happened. I want to murder people. Get going. Let's go.
Last
Chop,
week on Delve Requisite, pee pee poo poo. Next week on Delve Requisite, also pee pee poo poo.
Cannibalism.
All right. So I guess the next point of order is having the meeting with the NPCs. Yeah.
I think so.
All right.
Okay.
Somebody go get them.
So you want Aora Veshta and Macrawl.
Yeah.
Okay. Easily enough. Macrawl is a 8.5 foot tall orc. He's not
Well, we
hard
have a
to find.
couple orcs on the ship now. You know.
Are
it
you
could be
saying
like-
that? Are you saying that all orcs look alike? Because that's racist.
I'm saying that you've described all of them as being like giant, like be
Well,
like 8
no.
foot tall dudes, and we have like a whole bunch of 8 foot tall dudes.
Movor and Grol Halfhand are both orcs. Grol Halfhand
Yeah.
is decidedly kind of a like a thick boy. He's got a little bit of a spare tire. He's a little bit
Wow.
Never trust a
hefty.
skinny chef. Let's be clear. Never trust a skinny chef.
McCrawl is the only one that is like at a single line description would be a slab of beef killing machine. So he's not hard to find. And
Just go for where the boat slightly tilts. That's where you'll find
yeah.
him.
Yeah, the boat is listing to starboard because he's standing on that side. Tips the whole thing a little. No, you were able to find him. Aora Veshta is easily enough found because she's like sort of just like milling about on the deck because she doesn't have anything to do. She doesn't know what to do with herself. So you're able to grab them easily enough, bring them both back to the officers' like ready room here where you're having your meetings. McCrawl probably has to like hunch down a little bit to like he's probably like slightly in an angle like this because his head would like hit the ceiling otherwise.
Is he too big for a chair?
Do you have chairs? You have to establish your fiction.
Yeah, we got chairs.
Okay, he's in a chair. He has a teacup that looks comically small in his hand because he's a giant boy. He's holding it.
I like to think that, like, off the captain's cabin, we have like a, like the ready room, which is like got like a round table in it.
I used the phrase ready room not 10 seconds ago. Yes, that is what I assume we're in. Okay,
Are we
so yeah,
really in the ready room right now? Cool.
He's in a chair, which
Well,
is
I'm
like
not ready. Okay,
it's a little bit, maybe a little bit small for him, and he looks like he's like the chair is sort of like a luxury, which he's like, come on. But Aora Veshta is sort of like sitting sort of like hands folded, kind of like nervously eyeballing McCraw a little bit. You don't get the sense that she is like maybe ever seen an orc before. This close. But she is maintaining her sort of like polite decorum, and the two of them just are here and waiting for whatever you have to say to them.
I'm gonna let Nimue essentially do the talking since she was the one who speaks.
McCraw does speak like it's really not good, but like McCraw does speak a teeny bit of common.
I would probably just like start off in Orcish, and if he wants to answer in common, he can. But if he needs help, I will translate.
Okay, yeah, no problem.
I will pretty much just start with like, is there anywhere in particular you are keen to be dropped off at?
He says, we are your people call them the Black Hills. Maybe. I forget what I named them.
It sounds familiar.
Do we know where that is? I don't
Hang
know
on a
if Nimue
second.
knows.
Let's see. The tribal nations.
I think that's what Movar had told me a long time ago too.
Oh, they
Yeah,
both
it is. It's in my notes from conversation with Mo.
I was pretty sure I had called it the Black Hills. I just couldn't. I wrote a lot of lore for this, so sometimes I gotta go look up.
Oh no.
Yeah, I have
You're
Black
telling
Hill-
me that you
I have
can't
Black Hills for
recall
both.
every single like bit of minutiae and like world building lore that has been established over multiple years
I know,
immediately? What the
I'm,
frick?
We port at the Black Hills and immediately like, so I meant the Blue Hills.
I have, yeah. Sometimes I can't remember things. I have failed you
Matt,
all.
I have it as Black Hills for both Movar and for
Okay.
Mokral, so it's come up
Good.
twice.
At least
so.
I'm consistent.
Yep.
So yeah, so he says he says the Longtooth tribe.
We are a member of the Laughing Ram Nation. We make our home in the Black Hills.
He
Was that
says,
in common or in Orcish?
"This is Orcish.
Okay.
He doesn't
will
have enough. He
translate.
doesn't. Yeah, he doesn't have enough common to quite like. I'll
I will
if he's speaking in common, I will denote to you. Otherwise, assume he speaks in Orcish. He says,
If you have a map of Orahul, I can point to you its location.
Captain, can you grab the map and put it on the table?
Yeah, what map do you need?
The one with the black hills.
Map. That's Honorand, isn't it?
it's an honor end. I mean, like a map.
I don't know how.
Ostensibly,
Most
you
map
guys.
has black hills on them.
I'm sorry, I
A
don't
lot of
know.
black hills.
I'm an
Ostensibly-
island girl. What do you want from me?
Ostensibly, you guys have a map of Orahul, the continent.
Okay.
Which like is close enough that he sort of points to a point.
It's just like pulls it down.
Pull
by
down the projector
Hey,
screen.
there it is.
He points to a location. I actually don't think I have a full map of Orahul on your guys' overlay here.
What?
But
No.
but no.
One of my maps.
No, there's not a physical map of Orahul that exists. That one is only digital because I created it only on a computer. But he points to sort of it exists in your imagination. And in your imagination, in the kingdom of Honorand, which is the sort of like southern portion of the map of Orahul, the continent of Orahul. So like if you're on stream right now, like you're looking at a piece of the Iolaquis archipelago that is archipelago. Somebody correct me in chat. How it's supposed to
I
pronounce
think it's
that.
Archipelago. That's how I've always heard it.
Archipelago sounds right. We have at least one librarian in chat right now that can help me out. But you guys are looking at like where Naporia is. These sort of very. Can I move this? 10 seconds from now, you will see that. So here is Naporia, that big old landmass that is like on the like near Russell on the stream that's about to appear. That is the like northeastern chunk of Honorand.
Okay.
And like toward the what would be the west of here is like the Gulf. That like. The Ignean Empire is up here, Honorand is down here, and that gulf that is formed there. The Black Hills are, if this is the northeast like chunk of Honorand, the Black Hills from here are like, oh, actually, that's not too bad.
I'm on the wrong side.
That's also wild. I don't know what this is. The Black Hills are down here-ish.
Okay,
So
so
like the
way
Black Hills
south
are
of
sort of
where we
like the
are.
south central-ish location.
Stream could ignore the part where I was pointing to the exact wrong side, waiting for my stream to catch up.
Yeah, it's fine. But McCrawl basically says, he kind of tells you, he says,
Honorand is our homeland. We are well versed in traversing it. He says, this is the location of our village.
he sort of kind of shrugs. He says,
The closer you can get us, the better, but anywhere within Honorand, that you make sure we are more than capable of returning home of our own accord from there.
He said.
I have a question
archipelago. Okay.
that is out of game because I don't know. Basically, does this group know why they were traveling from their homelands? Because
Nope.
I know is the other group.
Yes, us as the audience and you as a player in the other group do know. You guys have not had that conversation with them. No.
Okay, so we don't know that.
You guys do sort of know that they were like, You do well. I guess that's not necessarily true. Like, you know some of the details. You know that like there was a sickness among their tribe, and the reason that they were in the Empire was that they were trying to steal medicine to bring home, and they
That
got
was
caught.
my
Right,
question.
okay.
You
I was
guys do
asking
know
whether we
that
knew
much.
that
Yes,
or
you
not.
know that much.
Okay,
Yeah,
that was
they
what I
told
wanted
us
to know.
that. Or they told me.
I will then, speak. I said they were on the hunt for medicine for their tribe. I assume that is still needed.
McCraw sort of like lowers his head and he says,
It has been many months since we departed from our village. Time was of the essence even then, and we have spent much time as prisoners of the Long Ear.
he kind of shakes his head. He says,
It is likely to bury the bodies that we return now.
he sort of like, since he's speaking to you, Nimue, he says,
This is the dishonor that I spoke of, from which we can only hope to redeem ourselves. We failed in our mission to return with the antidote to the amaranth fever in time.
he shakes his head. He says,
I fear that myself and my war party are the last of the long tooth. But return we must to lay our elders and wives and children to rest, that they may return if it is fitting, or pass on to the great hunting ground beyond, if their Lokroch has been deemed worthy.
There could still be a possibility that some survived.
It is my hope.
Well, then, with that hope,
I translate what he kind of just said to the group.
with that hope, maybe we could try to find the cure to send back with him if there's still people alive and sick, or even for the future, if it comes back, another wave comes back.
Aora Veshta, who has been quiet this whole time since you guys have been talking to McCraw first, she says, I believe perhaps that I may be of assistance here.
How so?
She says, it is, perhaps I was not aware of this with McCall and his friends, his companions. But this is only one more reason that I believe that the course of action that I have to propose to you is perhaps beneficial to all of us. And she says, sort of with the cadence of someone that you can sort of tell has like rehearsed this in her head a bunch of times. She says, okay, so there is some things that I gather from our experience together and from listening in on these conversations, that it seems that you are in need of, yes, yourselves, and as well as this Merkral here, yes. And there are things that are very important that I must see to myself. And I believe that we can accomplish both of these tasks by traveling together to a common location. She says, you are in pursuit of the Pendragon, yes? The one who is the protege or the master of Arcanist, the Scene, the bastard, yes? I have seen from when you rescue me from Saranga that you have taken the Scene's journals and his notebooks, yes? And I overheard, she sort of points to Thyxis and Nimue, says, I overheard you discuss that they are written in a code or a cipher, yes, that you cannot decipher. I would imagine, possibly, if there is any clue to the whereabouts of this Pendragon, or the nature of the work, or the any information to be gathered that might be in these journals, it would be required that you break the cipher, yes? And she says, she gestures towards McCraw, and she says, and now I am learn that Mokral and the orcs of his tribe, they are in need, perhaps, if any of their tribe are still alive, they are in need of the medicine derived from the root of the amaranth flower, yes? She says, I believe that I perhaps can offer the solution to both of the problems, and in doing so, solve the pressing matter of my own. She says, if you would be willing, I believe that we should travel to Terra Libra, to the stronghold of the Ordinem Libri. She says, you need a journals translated, a code broken, and there is no finer code breakers than those who are within the Ordinem Libri, who translate ancient texts of wizards and sorcerers and historians of long past to write in such codes. There, perhaps, you will find someone who can translate this journal for you and help you to find the next clues to pursue the Pendragon, yes? And certainly the Medica at Terra Libra would have likely a stock of treatment for the Amaranth fever that could be provided to Mokral and his people. She says, and I must reach the Ordinem to deliver word of what has happened. She says, I...
Three birds, one stone, one place.
She says, yes, three birds with one stone, as you say. She
I will
says,
translate quickly for McCraw in case any of that was lost in translation for him, since his
he
comments
seems,
not very
he
good.
seems like he caught like enough of it that he had the gist, but like with your translation, he sort of like nods. He says,
yes, if there is medicine to be had, we will follow here.
That way, when you do return, you won't be empty-handed.
He kind of nods. And Ioravesh just says, she says, I do not know, perhaps I have heard the mutterings among the crew, yes, that the word has come out of what you have seen within the port, the ships that they are building, yes. She says, there is something coming that is, I do not know what it can be, but the ships, as well as what has happened to me and what I know of, the experience that I had before my leading to my capture, yes, this information must be passed to the Ordinem Libri and on to the others of the kingdoms, or something terrible is coming, I am sure of it.
Matt, quick question about locations. Where is Terra Libra?
Terra Libra is... Man, I wish I had that Mythlande map.
It's in Mythlande.
It's in Mythlande. So... let me do this real quick. Hang on. I bet I can... If you give me a second, I bet I can do this and get this up for you. Let's go to here. Let's go to world map. We're going to save this. Okay, I'm going to save that. I'm going to drop this. I'll drop it in stream, and then I'll send it to you guys in Discord.
Oh my god, Christy, you're going too fast. I can't keep up. No.
I'm trying to slow down for you, BB.
Okay, on stream it looks like we're going at the same time, so that's what matters. Oh no. Oh no, Matt covered her.
I moved it. Okay, let's put that right here.
Flowing with the motion of the ocean.
Zoom in with this. So, if we open up the resolution is going to be wonk because I just grabbed it out of my own notebook here. So, you guys right now, the Iolocos archipelago. We learned how to pronounce that tonight. The Iolocos archipelago is like kind of over here. They're like in this area here, right? Like this is the Gulf I was talking about.
Yeah.
Umyathdarai, you can see right there is above the Anan Ignean. So you're coming from Umyathdarai, sailing around the Black Hills are like sort of above the D and the N in Honorand. It's sort of in that like strip of land that connects this like this area to the east that is like a big delta of a bunch of rivers and stuff. The Black Hills are kind of like in that piece of land between where like Zresa is and where all these like deltas are. And then over here is Mythlande. And you can see Naviria there. You can see Lyra, which is right on the border to the Blighted Peninsula, to the east there. Above that big old lake there, you see the city marked Festanast. The red dot to the west of that is Terra Libra. So Aora Veshta basically tells you, she says, if you can make port at a town or a city that is secure, that will not be in control of the Empire, obviously, but that is secure, that is large enough to possess a teleportation circle, I can send message and I can secure a teleportation through the transit system for all of us, as many of your crew as you need to send, and myself and Mover and his selected directly to Terra Libra to accomplish the tasks there, and then secure teleportation back for you. Because I have enough. I have enough sway within the bookkeepers, as well as the importance of the news that I have to deliver is more than enough to leverage the cost of transporting you, so that we do not have to spend the time to sail all of the way around the continent to reach the city by boat. Yes, the most prudent option, I think, yes, is to find the first and closest city or town that can have access to teleportation circle, and then make immediate the jumps there. She says, given enough time, perhaps also alternative. I can send a message to Terra Libra, and if we are willing to wait in a set location, yes, I can send word to them, and it is possible that they can send someone to bring us back if a teleportation circle is not to be found or would be further travel. Whatever it is that we do, it is it should not have to be explained. Yes, you have seen the boats that I saw. It should not have to be explained that it is critical that we deliver this message, this information, as fast as possible.
Nimue, do you know if there's any kind of access to any of this in Naporia?
Oh, would she know that?
She
remember
would.
the-
Naporia does not have a permanent teleportation circle.
What about Glazow?
Definitely not.
No.
Naporia's.
just-
No, that's not really our thing.
I just felt such a close connection with the arcane there. I just thought it might have been possible.
We are. That makes sense. We are to a certain extent, but we're an island nation. We're a very insular island nation that don't like to share.
So you could, per her, like, sort of options of this, like, you could post up at either of these locations and send word to Terra
And then
Libra,
pick us up.
and they could come get you there. It's just a matter of, like, whether you want to go and then just, like, wait in a place, or whether you want to try and, like, you could theoretically make, like, if I scroll this over here, like, you could theoretically sail into the Gulf here and make your way, potentially, like, to Ald in Midlanday, or, to one of the larger towns in here. Like, you could do that. But
Nimue, how would your people feel about someone coming in and then taking us out?
I mean, honestly, given the information we have, they would probably be more receptive to it for our cause. If it was just for funsies, absolutely not. But this is a special circumstance.
and
Bringing home.
it is perhaps even more dire than you understand.
I think I understand. I saw what they did to her firsthand. They killed her spirit. You don't need to tell me.
She nods. She says, yes, this. She says, I do not mean to be insensitive to the individual aura that was visited upon your fellow country person, yes? But I speak of the threat that the Indian Empire poses to all of our whole at large. She says, there is more to my tale. If you will allow, I will relay to you what I have seen and what I know.
Sure.
Please.
She says, how much do you know of the Ordinem Librae and its diplomatic and political relation to the other kingdoms of Ural?
I would probably know something of it. But...
So probably, I think Nimue and Sela is fair in that, like, bagel. Thyxis, Rowan, and maybe Murderbeard, theoretically, if you feel so compelled, can make me a history check. If you would like to see kind of like what you are.
Would this be anything Thyxis would have read about in a book or anything of that
It's
nature?
more the fact that, like, you guys are native to, like, the mainland and thus have more like the Ordinum Librae is a is very much like, as much as they are apolitical, they are very much like a extant political faction that exists. So, like, this is really just to see, like, it's more of a question of, like, How much are you paying attention to like things that are going on in sort of like the interkingdom relations of the world than
roll a
necessarily
2, so
reading
not
your
much.
histories? What did everybody get?
Current events.
Maybe a roll of 2, so I don't know anything.
Thyxus rolled a 21.
Okay.
And I got a 16.
Okay. So Thyxus and Rowan, with those rolls, let's start with Rowan. Because Thyxus is gonna have a little more in depth of this. Since Thyxus, we've kind of established is like a bookish boy. And I want to incorporate some historical elements of this to honor that 21. So both of you know this, and Rowan, you know, this is like, we'll cover like what you know first. The Ordinum Libri is an organization that was founded hundreds of years ago during the period of massive turmoil after the fall of the Invarian Empire, where, you know, Orahol was essentially under the control of this one, like, enormous empire's reach. And when Silarax the Black, the dragon that laid waste to the capital of the Invarian Empire, killed the High Empyrean, and created the cursed, plagued area that is known as the Blighted Peninsula today, like shattered the Empire's strength, fracturing the landmass that eventually would lead to hundreds of years of war and battling to try and take control and grab power and all of this other stuff. The Ordinum Libri was an organization that originally was founded as sort of an underground railroad to try and preserve knowledge and artifacts and literature and art and culture, things that were being decimated by these wars where these factions were just like burning each other's cities to the ground and laying their sorcerers and wizards to, you know, burning them at the stake and lighting their libraries on fire and, you know, doing what they could to basically like destroy their opponents, and as a result sort of like just demolishing, you know, the accumulated knowledge and culture of the continent. The Ordinum Libri was an apolitical organization that was formed as this underground railroad to try and gather, you know, like protect, you know, they'd smuggle historians and artisans and things, craftsmen and things like that out of war-torn portions of the continent to safety. They would protect relics and try to like get magical artifacts and tomes and things to safety. And over the centuries, they have developed into, you know, very much like their own faction that is not connected to any one organization. You know, they're known throughout the entire Five Kingdoms, but they pledge allegiance to no one, and they are independent, and they maintain this very strict like, neutrality. So they operate all across the Five Kingdoms, you know, seeking out lost knowledge and preserving lore and arcana and art and things like that, and trying to like store these all in one place, preserve them, and share them with, you know, with everyone. And this neutrality that they preserve is extremely important to them. Phyxis, what you kind of like additionally know about the Ordinum Libri through like your reading of what were undoubtedly extremely boring like socioeconomic treatises on, you know, the formation of the Five Kingdoms. You have basically learned
boring
that, like,
to you, but
boring,
very enjoyable
boring to anybody. Phyxis like loved him. The Ordinum Libri basically, you know, through your reading, you realize that like they have risen to such power because they have sort of ridden the coattails of Mithlinde. Mithlinde being a kingdom that, you know, was sort of involved or was very hand in hand with the Order of the Radiant Dawn. And so, Rowan, you kind of know a little bit of this. The Order of the Radiant Dawn, King King Mithlinday, the first king of Mithlinday, is known in like history to be a founding member of the order the Order of the Radiant Dawn. They sort of eventually like kind of split off from each other, but basically Mithlinday always kind of benefited from the fact that the city of Lyra, before Naviria was its capital, the city of Lyra was its capital. And the fact that the Order of the Radiant Dawn existed there and was basically, well known to be the only thing keeping the Blighted Peninsula from, like, overtaking the rest of the continent, it protected them from a lot of, as these, like, factions were warring with each other. Basically, everybody kind of left Lyra be, because, like, who wants to go sack Lyra and then let out a bunch of monsters? Like, as long as the paladins were fighting the fight on the front, everybody basically left Lyra alone. And the Kingdom of Mithlinday profited from that and helped them rise to prominence. The Ordinum Librae rode those coattails. Terra Libra is based, is inside of Mithlinday, although it's independent territory. They, rose to prominence, and, while they started as an underground railroad sort of situation, as the Five Kingdoms kind of solidified, they became essentially a legitimate political force. And kind of what Thyxis, is that in the very complicated socioeconomic relationships between Valand, this capitalist sort of dystopian place, and the authoritarian Ignean Empire, and the parliamentary Mithlinday, and the very loose, almost a-governmental Honorand, and of course the, like, very enigmatic, mysterious, pragmatic dwarves of Kruz-Dur. The Ordinum Librae has established itself, once things sort of started settling down and borders got drawn and things settled in. The Ordinum Librae, all of a sudden, is this force, this small sort of city-state that has, like, per capita, a preposterous amount of spellcasters and wizards and, like, magic knowledge and like, enough information and knowledge and things that they basically made themselves, like, too threatening for anybody to, like, directly oppose, and it essentially became easier for all of these kingdoms to establish non-aggression treaties. And so this, like, strictly enforced neutrality of the Ordinum Librae, of the bookkeepers, basically allow them to operate in all five kingdoms across Orahul, and, like, none of the governments mess with any of their people or their agents, because to risk angering the Ordinum Librae is to risk, like, them severing ties with a particular kingdom. And the knowledge and information and, like, magical research that they share openly with the allied kingdoms is too valuable that, like, a kingdom to risk, like, losing access to that would set them at a disadvantage to the other kingdoms and inevitably see their defeat. So, like, through their neutrality, while simultaneously maintaining, like, such a stranglehold on, like, knowledge and research and arcana and magic, they have, like, set themselves up as, like, this entity that none of the five kingdoms would like, dare openly, like, fuck with them, because the cost would be too great. And there's, all sorts of, like, things that you have read on the sort of, like, the impact on this, on the various, like, inter-kingdom relations that exist. So collectively, between the two of you, you guys know that, like, this is what the Ordinum Librae is. This is sort of how it came to be that way. And, like, they're a big deal in the Five Kingdoms. And the idea that, like, it kind of, like, comes to you, like, the idea that, like, apparently the Imperials came and, like, dragged this woman out of her enclave and, like, threw her in a dungeon is like wild.
I would thinking this over and having the time to actually think about it and remembering the books that I've read and all that, probably as I'm kind of just walking around, I would try to cast a message to Murderbeard,
Okay.
and I would just say to him, um, I think we need to all have a conversation privately after this.
Murderbeard won't respond. But he'll at some point like catch Thykes' eye and be like,
Okay.
It's a little.
Yeah, just
Aora Vesta, in the meanwhile, once given go ahead to explain this, she basically tells you the following tale. She says, I am the bookkeeper's head of their field office or their enclave in the Mirthorai. Yes, we maintain such establishment in all major cities in all of the Five Kingdom, as well as many of the smaller towns. It is my duty there to serve as a resource for scholars of the Ordinem Librae, or for the traveling group of relic hunter that they send around to search ruins and things of this nature to try and accumulate knowledge. Yes. She says, I, as such, have much contact with many of my fellow head of enclaves. Yes. And before my capture, she says, I was having a discussion with a colleague of mine, the head of the enclave for the Ordinem Librae that is located in Shivasinvaria. Shivasinvaria being the capital of the Ignean Empire. She says, I was having conversation with him via a. She says, what is she's like utters something in Vorian. She's like, is to scry, to look upon, to have conversation, is a mirror with enchantment. Yes. I am able to have conversation with him directly, as if we were speaking in the same room, although I am in Omirthorai and he is in Shivasimbaria. She says, and it is purely by chance that we are having conversation, and we are interrupted. The Imperial Guard in Shivasimvaria, they break into the Enclave and they take him prisoner. She says, and I am to see this. I see this happen. They carry him away. And she says, before even I have any time to think of this, to know what to do, she says, it is my own door that is broken down, and the Imperials come in, and they take me. She says, and they put a cloth bag upon my head so that I cannot see, and I am dragged from my enclave and put in a cell, and before then I am then brought to the dungeons where you find me to suffer whatever fate it was that the scene has in store for me. But it is my opinion. Yes, I think that I am fortunate enough to be in communication with the Ordinem's head of their office in Shivasinvaria, that I have this knowledge, but it could not have been more than a minute of difference between when he was taken from his office and when I was taken from mine. I can come to no other conclusions than that for some reason the Imperials have simultaneously, perhaps through the entire empire, made a move to take captive operatives of the Ordinem Librae. Says, why else would within such a short time they take him, they take me? She says, I am convinced there can be no other explanation that they something is coming, and they would not risk angering the Ordinem Libri and cutting off their support from the bookkeepers by acting against its operatives in this way, if not to do it in such a way that word would not reach back to the order. It says, this is the reason that I am convinced that something is coming that can only be a threat to all of the kingdoms, if nothing else. And I am desiring of the utmost haste to return to the Ordinem, to Terra Libra, to deliver this message so that they know what is happening.
Do you think you two are the only ones, or do you fear that they've struck multiple times?
She kind of like, she shakes her head and she says, I have thought about this a great deal, and I think that if myself and if my associate in Shivas Invaria were taken with such precise timing at the same time, I fear that it may be every known operative of the Ordinem Libri within Imperial territory.
Oh boy, how many is that approximately? Do you know?
She sort of like, she kind of ponders. She says, well, in the main cities of the Ignan Empire, she says Shivas in Varia, yes, I know that my colleague was taken from there. She says, I of course run the enclave in Umathorai. She says there is an enclave in the other major cities: Eleonora, Alathabel, Tel Vanel. She says so those five at least. She says there are a dozen others in some of the more prominent cities, towns, and such. She says if they acted as I suspect they may have simultaneously upon all of the enclaves, she says it is possible that they at the same time moved upon a dozen or so operatives of the Ordinem. So there would be less opportunity for one of them to send word to the others.
Do you know of anyone in Terra Libra that you could send a message to directly to that you trust implicitly?
She says, I could send a message to any number of individuals within Terra Libra would be fine. This is she kind of like starts to like rattle off. She says the head of the branch arcana of the Ordinem Libra, Amélie de Sandbray. She says Brenna Stillwater, Kellier Shadowmoon. She says even Paolo Monteblanc or Lenara Molyneux, any of these. She says I know a half a dozen others that I could send information to, but I am hoping that we can go there in person to deliver this information.
perhaps we, Nimue, head to your neck of the woods and take care of the ship.
Yeah.
We could, Captain, we could send message to Glazow from there, and then have Aora send for someone to come get us from Naporia.
I think that's reasonable. It's the safest place to keep port for the rest of the crew, honestly.
And the crew could help protect Naporia a little too, if they need to.
Depending how long we're gone for.
Mm-hmm.
So, Iora kind of like seeming that like you guys seem to be willing to go along with her idea of like getting information to the Ordinum and going there. She seems like satisfied. More kind of like, I don't know how much of this you've been like translating to him, Nimue, as it's not necessarily been directly involving him. He's been like
I
sort of
wouldn't
like
be translating in Orcish. Like while she's talking, I'll be mentally translating just to like keep it easy for everybody involved. Well, I want him to be at least aware of what she's saying. I don't want him to be like out of the loop at all.
Okay. So he says
If your decision is to return to your Naporia and go from there to the home of the scholar, what is to become of my people and I?
Well, maybe your people wait at Emporia. You come with us as the leader, pick up the medicine and make sure we get any supplies that you need, and then we will come back all together and get you where you need to be. We want to get you that medicine. Even if you can't use it now, you can use it later.
yeah, he nods. He says,
This is agreeable to me.
so I think it sounds like you guys have sort of reached your consensus here, right? Kind of know what the plan is. Okay.
Make Emporia our like safe port while we do this for her and get like 3 birds, 1 stone in Emporia.
Cool. So, I think you guys probably have some messages to send off, right? There's some discussion of that. So, what's you have 2 messenger sparrows, right? And then you
I think
have
first point of order is we
Sela's
dismiss
ability.
the NPCs, and then like because Lexus wanted to kind of
Yeah. Okay.
talk, and
They'll
then we can.
that moves
Yeah.
out of there.
I just, I guess as soon as the NPCs leave, just be like, Captain, I think she's being honest, and I think we have a really drastic threat on our hands. It seems either the Empire has completely lost its fear of the Adenum Librae, or perhaps even someone has staged this whole thing to start some kind of war or conflict between the nations.
Well, I don't doubt that she's telling the truth. I am a little hesitant to understand why we would want to concern ourselves in someone else's war.
Well, I don't think, with the size of that armada, do you think we even have a choice?
I was just gonna say that I don't think just because it's a fight right now between the Ignians and the Ordinum doesn't mean it's not gonna go farther, and
And
that
we
we're all
can use
not
them.
gonna get pulled into it.
We can use these people for the cipher. We need to get more information on Pendragon and what they want for the Luna Warriors and how many they have. I feel like this is the closest thing we have to a lead. We have the books, but we can't read them.
Yes, we need help to decipher these. It's frustrating. I just can't seem to figure it out. I've been losing sleep over it, but it's we need a little bit more in-depth knowledge, and I think going this route will help us.
And we don't need to stay on the land forever.
I don't think we're staying long.
Yeah, I think
Long
it's
enough to get the code correct. Hopefully, it doesn't take too long. But
to get a specific set of information and to help Aora and Mokral, and then
that's when,
we go back to what we need to do with Pendragon and wherever that takes us.
Sounds sufficient to me. And perhaps this organization might be interested in freelancers who acquire items dubiously.
Oh, I'm glad you reminded me, Captain. And Thyxus will reach kind of behind himself and pull out the chest that he stole and set it down onto the table. I couldn't get it open. It was locked.
This is the chest from what's his face's office?
When we were, yeah, I think so. Or when we were running out of the market, Thyxus just ran into one of the tents and stole a chest.
Yeah, he stole another one. We got
okay.
the one from
what?
We got the one from Lilalians, and then you took one from another.
Did I give you the information on how much gold was in Rolalian's thing?
I don't think we did.
I don't think I ever had time to open it. I just
we never
grabbed it
sat
and
and talked about it. We've been running for our lives. We don't know anything that's in these things yet.
Okay.
Captain, I just figured you would like the honors of being able to open some of these spoils.
What kind of locks? Is it just the one, or was the other one locked? Was Royalins locked?
I really have no idea. I was just yes-anding.
That's a DM question. I was like, do I have time?
No, so actually,
am I lock picking? Is the question.
I believe that Sela got into Rolalian's lockbox because he had a journal too that you guys have not investigated yet.
That was like the main thing that we were going for in the market, other than getting the orcs
so
out.
you got his lockbox. So you got into his.
Yeah, there was like a random tent that was like next to where we were breaking out the orcs.
So from let's
ran in and grabbed a box.
So from Rolalian's stuff, and I don't. You guys will have to like make sure that I'm not double money giving you, because I don't remember like if we like went to this. In Rolalian's lockbox, there was 150 Ignean Regals.
I mean, I only have a total like 26 gold in my character sheet, so I don't know. Like,
he had 150 Ignean Regals in his lockbox.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't
ledger.
think we have that.
If you guys have like read through the like the contents of his ledger. Oops.
Yeah, Scylla knows Elvish, so if it's in Elvish, then she could.
It is in Elvish. Like, it's readable. That. It's not written in a code like Thasine's thing was.
Yeah.
Let me just double check something. Okay. So Rolalian's notes. You guys, let's say you guys are like cracking into the loot, right? So you open Rolalian's lockbox that you stole. You get your 150 regals out of there. You're like, oh, for money, make it rain, whatever. You open his ledger. You flip through. It takes you a little bit of time to like find, what you're looking for. But you find information on the Naporians that he was brought. You find some information, like, he takes note of everybody that he, like, bought and sold. So you have to, like, read through a very depressing ledger of, like, sentient beings that he was selling. You find note of a half a dozen, like, people that were brought to him under the pretense of Napoleon that are then, like, marked off as, like, the orcs killed the shit out of them. They weren't a real Napoleon, like, fake. Actually, whoever's, like, going through this, make an investigation check, just because I want to see, like, if you kind of pick up some information here.
I will help whoever's got the journal.
Should I do it then?
It's fine.
Yeah.
Okay. Bink. New Scylla dice. Oh! Oh, pretty good. Okay. 17.
Yeah. So with a 17, you're specific, like, you're scouring this for Napoleons, right? Like, that's what you kind of know you're looking for. So, like, those fake Napoleon entries, like, draw your attention. You kind of scan through them. You see, like, like, individual. It's all very, like, clinical. It's like there's no names associated with anything. It's always like male, like this race, weight, weight, height, age, like, type of thing. Every time you come to an entry that, like, is noted as, like, brought under pretense of Napoleon, and, like, trial run, like, proving to be false. There's always a note of, like, individual brought by, like, such and such description, like a rough description of, like, the person that brought them in. And as you're, like, kind of reading through this journal, you note in a couple of places, and then you, like, go back and kind of confirm it. If it's, like, human mid-50s, brought potential Napoleon, and then, like, the note is, like, false Napoleon, like, and the thing is crossed out, the, like, next entry in the ledger is always, like, human mid-50s. So you get the impression, you kind of start to piece together, like, that anybody that, like, tried to pass off a Napoleon, or, like, a fake Napoleon, and he, like, figured it out, was, like, then sold by him to somebody. So the fate of people trying to, like, scam this disgusting slave system was, like, not great. But here's the information that you find on the true Napoleons that he was brought, and much confirming the conversation that the scene had with Nimue. There are four of them. Real Napoleons went through Aelorn R'Lolian's, like, business, and their entries are described as thus: 1. Male, early 40s, 6 foot 1 inches, 192 pounds, markings red. Female, late 20s, 5 foot 5 inches, 121 pounds, markings green. Female, early 50s, 5 foot 2 inches, 110 pounds, markings green. Male, late 20s, 5 foot 7 inches, 128 pounds, markings red. Those are the 4 true Napoleons that went through Aelorn R'Lolian's shop. Female, early 50s, 5'2", 110 pounds, green, matches the individual that you recovered.
Yeah,
The other 3 are unknown to you
read
right
those because I don't know if Nimue knows Elvish, but I will, like,
She does.
point those out.
She reads Elvish.
The Ignean dialect is probably a little different from the Napoleon dialect, but, like,
Okay.
it's close enough that you are able to
Basic.
read it.
Root words.
Sure.
Shit.
could be him. How much did they say he weighed?
128 pounds.
Oh boy.
5'7", 128, late 20s, red markings.
Nimue just starts cursing in Naporian.
Okay.
And yeah, she just leaves the room. I feel like she's gonna go be sick up
Okay.
top. So she just leaves.
That doesn't seem like great information. And I think we have a bigger problem on our hands now, and we really need to find Pendragon.
Hmm. Maybe we shouldn't delay this then. Maybe we should just get going.
I think since we're already on our way to Naporia, I think once we get there, we need to find out if it's okay to have the Ordinum members come get us from there. And then we'll send the message. I guess we need permission. I think, and in the meantime, I guess Aora could send a note, or we could send a note to Blackwell on Glasgow to let him know what's going on at minimum, just so that we're doing something right now.
Hmm.
I'll get started on the message to Glasgow. I'm
You're
gonna go
gonna
get that little bird, and I'm gonna.
you're gonna get your guys' messenger sparrow as opposed to using your spell for it.
Well, okay, so I don't have sending. I have animal messenger, which like I can basically get like a flying creature to cover 50 miles in 24 hours. If I upcast it to 3rd level, I can get it to travel for, instead of 24 hours, 72 hours.
I think what I'm
So
gonna say here is based on the lore that I have established and this thing that I have built with messenger sparrows, which I borrowed from Animal Messenger. I'm gonna say like narrative purposes, like if you are using this spell to like I need to deliver a message to Blackwell, I'm not gonna worry so much about the mechanics of it. Like you can use your own spell to do this and use the messenger sparrow that you guys like have in your in your cage or whatever for like a different message if you want. um I'm fine with that because it's like it's it's narrative stuff, right? As opposed to like something that is like super strictly mechanical. So like I'm more comfortable just saying like let's let your animal messenger work like I have established the messenger sparrows in the world work.
okay, then yeah, I'll just send a message like explaining the like, and very very like short clipped messages like of like Ignians building a fleet, like basically telling him to like repair stuff. I don't, that like we have to, they're attacking the Ordinum Libri. So I don't, you don't have a ton of words with those things, so yeah, like, getting in
Okay.
what I can.
All right,
The fleet is the part that is concerning.
Yeah. Let's call this make make an animal handling check for me.
This one.
Mhm.
It's only a 15.
Okay. Cool. So we'll see where we end up with that.
Get another stupid frickin' seagull. That's all I got.
You get a seagull. You give it the message. You send it on its way. Um, anything else? I think I'm inclined probably narratively here. I think it makes sense for us to like, make our way to Naporia for the next like plot relevant thing that happens. Is there any other like messages that are being sent out with your guys's your like legit messenger sparrows? Is there any scenes that you guys want to see play out between party members, between NPCs and party members, anything like that, on our journey here? Otherwise, we'll sort of fast forward.
Just making a note of something that I've been meaning to do for literally this whole game, but I never have. Scylla, like, sometimes goes and, like, sits on, like, the deck or something by herself, and, if it's okay, she has, like, because it's kind of how I picture her aesthetic, she has, like, little, like, whalebone, like, scrimshaw, like, with the carvings in it, and she's just, like, gonna work on carving some.
Okay.
Just, like, like, they make, like, little patterns. It's basically, like, she's trying to record in, like, teeth and like bones, like the stuff that they've done.
Okay. Yeah, absolutely. Anything else from anybody?
I would at some point probably find Thixus and just read everything that we can read that isn't ciphered and just kind of keep bouncing ideas back and forth between us. But at some point I would comment on the red eyes and the power he used in the ship battle because I was right there and saw it and I was surprised.
Okay. If you guys are poring over Thasine's journals, make an Arcana check for me. Or, alternatively, if you would like, I don't know, this might be different for one of you, a medicine check is also acceptable.
Thanks has got a 15.
I got a 22 Arcana with a natural 20.
Okay, Thixus, was yours an Arcana or a medicine?
Arcana.
Okay. With the Arcana, Thixus with the 15, I think you probably have kind of a specially vested interest in the book that seems to be dedicated to tieflings. And with that Arcana check, I think what you are able to discover, you cannot read word one of anything that is written in these books. The whole thing are written in this like this code that seems to be of the scene's own devising.
And you said this had like pictures of tieflings in it, right?
So this is how you are able to glean the information that you're able to glean with this skill check here that we've done. You can't read anything, but you're looking at the diagrams, these like anatomical diagrams that he's sort of like put in here, and what you gauge, Thixus kind of like glean from these drawings that he has done is that you think the fundamental nature of what he was trying to do had something to do with energy, like arcane energy being channeled through a medium. So you kind of like, you see some diagrams that sort of indicate like it kind of like draws your thought process towards like the way that you use your spell focus, your orb, to like pull energy through and channel it to like create certain effects. You see some things that sort of like reminisce of that, and you are pretty sure you get the sense that like whatever it was he was doing with these like tiefling subjects had to do with figuring out a connection between like the channeling of magic through certain objects versus the channeling of energy and magic through like the physical body of an individual.
Okay.
And with that, you get a 15, right?
Mm.
With that 15, you're pretty sure, based on like the kind of like back quarter of his book, maybe the last like 24 pages or so, some of the diagrams you see, you are pretty sure, though you're not sure what the context of it is, you are pretty sure that he determined that something about the like innate nature of tieflings, of individuals who have this, whatever it is that makes a tiefling, something about the nature of that made them incompatible with whatever it was he was trying to do. And like shortly after that, the book is done. It's just like a handful of empty pages to the end. So it seems like whatever he was doing had to do with like channeling energy and like focusing it through like a body, through a person's physical form. And once he like seemed pretty sure that like tieflings were not suitable for this, he just abandoned that course of research.
Mm.
Rowan, with that slightly higher roll, you gain all that same insight and sort of talking through this with Thyxis. You put together one additional thing that you can choose to share with Thyxis or not. You sort of like kind of piece this together because you have the background that you do in receiving the education you probably did as a youth through your family, and then like built upon by the specific brand of education provided by the Radiant Dawn. You are pretty sure that I'm trying to think how to phrase this. You are pretty sure that like whatever it was the scene was trying to like figure out how to make work, and the like conclusion that he sort of came to that like tieflings are not suited to it, you are pretty sure that it is related to the fact that something like the sort of the nature of tieflings is connected in some way to like what the Radiant Dawn would ascribe like an evil status to. Something that is not drawn from like what they would consider like the light of dawn, the goodness, the innate like power and light that they draw their magic from. Something that comes from somewhere that is dark and by their standards evil and heinous, and not of the proper path and the good and righteous path. Something about that seems to be what was the undoing of the tiefling subjects that the scene was doing this research on had to do with.
I would tell Thyxis that.
Okay. Hey, you're evil.
Alexei.
No.
It's
I would just say to him, it seems that where your power comes from didn't work with the power he was trying to channel. He seems to think, as all of them do there, that they're better than everyone else, and what they were doing was better than what your people are connected to, which is complete crap. But
it seems ironic to me that the thing stopping the evil from happening was the fact that they were evil.
And yet he was probably the most evil person that any of us had run across in a long time.
But yeah, it seems like he gave up on us.
It's probably worth mentioning at this point, just as a hard step into like meta information, that like D&D as a system and as like a body of lore, there is a difference between like lowercase evil and capital E evil. Whereas like based purely on those like that set of rules, the scene would be what you would call lowercase evil, in that like he was a giant piece of shit. The thing that we are talking about in the context of here is what you would refer to as capital E evil, which is like not necessarily linked to like objective like morality or like motivation or like a necessarily like a specific set of actions, so much as it is like a particular nature of things and a like a fundamental law of creation that is like it is aligned like almost like on a certain frequency that has like hard and fast rules with how it aligns with other frequencies. So like when if the scenes note something as like capital E evil, it is in a much more like scientific sense of what like evil means,
So he's
as
like the
opposed to
dark type Pokemon with a weakness to like radiant damage.
yeah, sort of, right? So whereas like, the scene like is clearly like a giant bastard and you would be like, what an evil piece of shit. Like there's probably a lot of overlap in those two things, but like specifically D&D lore and like and the way that I am implementing it here, like there is a distinction between the two things, and I want to make sure like that's clear to you guys.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, definitely. I don't. Again, Rowan is awkward. I'll look at Thixus and just say I don't believe any of his crap, but I do have a question for you.
Sure.
When we were on the ships, I mean, I know you're powerful and probably more powerful than you think you are, but that spell you did? I don't know what you did, but your eyes were red and it seemed to pull more power from you than I think I've seen before. Are you okay?
Oh yeah, I'm absolutely fine. What happened? I really don't remember a whole lot.
Now I'm more concerned. You you don't remember what you did?
I mean, I know Tea Kettle was looking at me kind of suspiciously after the whole thing.
Okay.
Listen, Rowan. There's a lot of things about myself that I don't understand. You remember back when Scylla all had us sit down and try to focus, and I don't
Yeah.
know if you noticed, but I was pretty uncomfortable during that.
Yes, I was too. I think you were more uncomfortable than me, but maybe that's just because I'm stupid and stubborn, and you're maybe smarter to not keep trying.
Let's just say I think there's something deep down inside of me that doesn't need to be let out.
I just reach over and like kind of like not too close but like kind of like just put my hand on his shoulder and just like rub his shoulder for a minute and say, you are one of the kindest and smartest people I've ever met, and whatever you think is inside of you that is bad, I'm sure you could beat, but if you want to keep it locked up, I will help you with that too if I can. I just wanted to make sure you were okay because I'd never seen that before. And if you're okay, that is all I need to know.
So I'm perfectly fine, and I do appreciate you always being there for me. I do have one concern about all of this.
What's that?
What if that armada was after Naporia? What if they were getting ready to go after them for more of these experiments?
I think maybe we need to tell
Because it seems to have worked on them, correct? Is that what we think?
We don't have any information. We can't break the rest of the ciphers, so we need that to happen before we'll know what his notes are. But if your people's type of arcane connection didn't work, and maybe the Naporians did, and maybe that's why there's an active hunt for them right now, I think we do need to tell Nimwe's father and the other leaders once we get there what your suspicions may be and prepare them for that, but I don't think we can do anything more than what we're actively doing right now. We need to bring their fallen member home, and we need to get to Terra Libra to get some answers.
I think in the meantime, everybody needs to be prepared for the worst.
Yeah, I agree.
Because I saw Captain's face whenever he saw that many vessels over there, and that's the most worried I think I've ever seen Captain.
Yeah, he doesn't necessarily show worry ever.
He shows it in a
So,
different way, I think.
yeah, differently. But if you saw
I
blatant
won't.
worry
I
on
won't.
his
I'm not
face,
going to call it fear. I don't. Our captain is not fearful.
I don't think so either. But
Maybe more surprise, shock, awe, perhaps.
and maybe the hint of concern outside
It
of the
was.
realm of fear
It
for the
was the
rest of
way.
us.
It was the way he phrased. Ah, fuck. That really got to me. I mean,
I didn't catch that in the moment. I was too busy internally screaming about other things, but I agree that if anyone knows Captain's nuances right now, it's probably you. So we will definitely need to bring that up with everybody else. But as long as you're okay, that's what I really cared about.
well, thank you. It does mean a lot.
I just kind of playfully push him a little bit and then just pick up another book and start reading. Because that's what we nerds do.
Oh yeah, that's what we nerds do. We immediately go back to the book.
Yeah. Keep looking for anything else we can maybe figure out and any other books that we have.
Okay. So you guys set course for Naporia. And are any other messages sent out before I begin this narration montage? Right, you guys sent one to Blackwell. Are you sending any other messengers?
I wasn't sure if we were going to send the one to Terra Libra yet until we have permission from Naporia. Because
That's
why
fine.
have to
Just making
send
sure.
2 messages? Is that
Yeah.
correct, guys?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. All right. I didn't want to steamroll over anybody's thing. So
I would say that Nimwe's composure has faltered.
Okay.
She has let her hair down. She is not wearing her armor properly. She has gotten sloppy and lazy and is kind of a mess. She is purposely avoiding everybody, including the twins. She is shutdown mode.
Interesting. Okay.
Mood swings for the win.
I'm gonna change up some things then in that case. So, you proceed on your way back to Naporia, which we kind of established is about a 10-day sail. On day 4 of your sail, there is an incident aboard the ship. The weather gets a little rough. You get kind of some overcast, kind of gusty, a little bit of a light rain, but the wind is a little heavier. And it's sort of the sailing is a little rough. The ship is really listing around. There is an incident aboard the Grimm's Folly on this day 4. And I'm going to say, Murderbeard, you're at the helm. At this point, you're navigating the ship. The weather is rough. The sky is overcast. The wind is kind of choppy and inconsistent, and seems to be unable to make up its mind about which direction it wants to blow in. So the Grimm's Folly is sort of one way to the other way to all over the place. and a little past midday, you are kind of like doing your best to sort of like kind of navigate into the waves as much as you can to cut down on the break of the waves just like smacking against the side of the ship and jostling everybody. And you hear a horrible, probably actually all of you guys hear this from like wherever you might be. You hear this like pained, agonized scream come from like one deck below, the poop deck, the main deck, the cannon deck. You hear this horrible scream. What is everybody doing?
Running.
If it sounds like pain, I would
Attempting
go.
not to crash the ship.
Yeah, I think Murderberg needs to stay up there. But the
So
rest
you're
of
gonna
us-
stay.
Irritated
I mean, like
running.
you essentially just, I don't want you to get feel like you get left out of this. Like you definitely have a Mr. Data, the helm is yours. Like you have a guy up there that you can give the helm if you want to be involved in this.
Who's our what's the
Pora Dazan.
Pora design.
Yeah.
You can give a Pora.
Portisada? I turned to a Portisada. I'm like, number 2, you have the bridge. And they're like,
Apora gets into a chair side saddle for some reason,
Yeah.
but does take the bridge.
Apora, I don't know why you brought a chair with you to do that, but okay.
I
The
like
chair
to be.
immediately slides across the open deck. It's like,
I thought it would look cool. I'll just stand and try and steer the ship. That's fine. So you guys run below decks, no problem. What you find, there's a couple of individuals already down there that are in the process of helping a figure who you find is laid out on the floor. There is I have too many tabs in my notebook. Ooh, where's the crew roster for the Grimm's Folly?
Goddess tea kettle.
Oh, it's all the way on the first page. Yeah, all
no,
you really
I'm
need to
in
know
my-
is the boat baby.
I found it. I'm in my OneNote, not in the thing that you guys have
Oh.
access to.
Oh, wow.
Wow, not official.
Yeah, I have
title. Okay.
I have a
Yeah.
better spreadsheet that you guys aren't cool enough to have.
Obviously not better if you can't find shit.
That's true. Not better because I couldn't find it. I got it now.
Matt has
There are a handful. There's a handful of crew members who are in the process. There's a handful of people gathered around one form who is prone on the ground. And Movor is there. You recognize, as well as one of Macrawl's orcs. An individual, a crew member of the Grimm's Folly that you know is named Mayweather Crook. The three of them are currently wrestling a cannon, back into position that has from what you can tell as you immediately assess the scene, had come loose from its moorings and has rolled slammed across the deck. And as you guys make the scene, you see a handful of these crew members who are in the process of sort of trying to deal with a member of the crew who you know is named Rochelle Parrish. She's a human female, and she's screaming. They're kind of holding her arms back while one of the crew members attempts to apply he's pulled off his belt and is trying to tourniquet her right leg, which has been absolutely mashed to a pulp by this cannon, which has come loose and just crushed it.
I immediately run over to her.
So she's just thrashing and screaming, and two of these crew members are holding her arms while a third one is trying to tie off the mangled leg.
Can I?
Yeah, can we do healing? Is that a thing
Yes,
we can?
You totally can.
I to the guy who's trying to do the tourniquet, I just say hold her still, and then I'm
He like
going.
clamps both hands down on like the upper thigh portion of her leg, which is like from the knee down is like crushed. So he like just holds it steady. And the other two hold her at each shoulder and bicep.
Okay.
Does it look like the others are having trouble with the cannon, or did they get it into position okay?
They're struggling a little bit. It's
right.
the ship is rocking and listing, and they're kind of like every time they go to like roll it to try and lash it down, like the ship like on a wave, and they're shoving at it.
Phyxis will cast Reduce on the cannon.
Okay. The cannon
I was just about to suggest.
shrinks down, and Movor just sort of like picks it up in like two hands.
Find a place to lock it in. It's only going to be that way for a minute.
Okay.
Quick, Movar, quick!
As if he has like a lit bomb. He just runs around a bunch, and he eventually like. Hang on a second. Yeah,
Okay, that would
absolutely.
be a really good idea.
He runs up the steps up to the main deck, holding this thing out in front of him like this, and about 4 seconds later, you guys hear as he just throws it over the edge into the ocean.
No, one of our cannons.
I'm sorry, guys.
I just
I'm
casting a third level healing word.
Okay.
Captain, we're really busy right now. Maybe we can talk about this later.
I just
Want to get a new cannon? This is the time.
that cannon is coming out of your paycheck.
Oh my god.
So Sela, third level healing word.
I almost rolled max healing on that.
Nice.
That is 4, 8, 11, 15 points of healing.
Ooh, 15. Paint me.
Yeah, I
paint
literally
me a
rolled
word
2
picture.
4s and a 3.
Paint me a word picture of what this looks like as Sela performs the spell.
Maybe like she says something in Druidic, and this lady's blood that's like pouring out of her leg like reverberate, like there's a little ripple in it from the blood, and then all the little droplets look like tiny little animals and run back into her body.
Okay.
And the skin, if it helps, like any of the skin or the like the skin would kind of look like little vines for a bit, like entwining with each other and then closing, and then any like bone would basically look like a tree like cracking open, but like in reverse. Like almost if you watched a tree, like, or a piece of wood getting split, but in like reverse.
Okay, so you guys spend the next roughly 30 seconds watching a Nat Geo Planet Earth special in reverse as these sort of like the blood, the leg from kind of like the knee down is just like kind of a mess of like pulped skin where you can tell the bone is like just pulverized and split flesh and blood and sort of the blood ripples and begins to like almost like writhe with its own accord, and as it fuses and moves back towards, you can swear you see like the vague forms of wildlife sort of like jumping out of the leading edge of this sort of like wave of blood before they like curl back in. The leg sort of like knits itself together with 15 points of healing. I think you are definitely able to fully like put her leg back together in the sense that like everything is like closed up and back roughly where it's supposed to be. So she is no longer injured in the sense that like she's not like bleeding out, and her leg isn't like oozed everywhere and smashed. And she's probably not at a risk of like developing like an infection or anything like that. I think that roll is really good enough that like she will keep the leg for sure. I think the leg is probably for like a healing word. That leg is probably not made whole again. Like you can tell just by kind of looking at it, like that leg is fucked up. But she is not going to die, and she is probably not going to develop an infection that like will kill her later. And you guys are not in a position where like you're gonna have to chop that leg off.
Phyxis finds 5 gold.
And Phyxis finds 5 gold.
Probably came out of the pant leg of her. Yeah.
I immediately hand it to Murderbeard. So,
Yeah, it is
Cat-
the cannon replacement fund.
Cannon
Here, Captain, I'll get started right now.
How much more healing does she look like she needs? Like,
I don't think that like, if you're thinking about like a lay on hands or whatever, like you probably don't get the sense that like continuing to pump healing into her is going to do anything. Like she has been healed as much as she is going to be healed. Like the fact that like there's only so much without like a level of like advanced healing magic that like you guys don't possess, and like probably like as far as your knowledge like doesn't even exist. Like it's not gonna put that leg back together to make her like she's not gonna be tap dancing anytime soon. Like
right.
I think as much as is going to be accomplished has been accomplished with this leg. And she's like pale in the face. She is sweating. She's kind of like she stops screaming once the heal has like completed. She's kind of like and she looks down. She says, Hey, me leg. It's all wobbly shaped. She kind of looks, and she looks to like where the cannon was. She's, it just fucking rolled from its mooring. She kind of like looks around. She's like, whoa, why weren't it tied down? Oh me, and she sort of devolves into like, oh me leg is it's fucked. I got a wonky leg now forever. Whoa.
Right side, you get a cool peg leg. You're a pirate.
No, I don't even
That's
get a cool
me,
peg
my
leg.
peg
She
leg.
saved me leg. I just got a crappy leg.
she just limps a little now. She'll be fine.
Well, if you want a peg leg, I can help you get there. If you're
No,
going to be ungrateful.
I've been through enough today. I got me leg crushed by a cannon. I got me leg crushed by a cannon. I don't need any of Sealer's famous hospitality. Fucking Furbolg bedside manner, I'll tell you what. If your crushed cannon leg don't kill you, the Sealer hospitality will.
All right.
You see, like, the crew members. The two crew members are like, we're gonna get her out of here now before she suffers anything else crushed beyond repairability.
She'll go join the cannon overboard if she doesn't want. Can I look at where the cannon was supposed to be?
Yeah, absolutely.
trying to
Make
see
an
how that happened.
investigation check.
This is giving me some creepy vibes now. Someone just did stuff. Someone just sabotaged us.
Yeah. Can I look to see if there's
Anybody who wants to can make an investigation roll.
Yeah.
Cannon's gone.
I-
So that's not it. But
Well, I'm looking at like where it was
Can
sitting.
I
I only got a
assist
14 though.
someone instead?
sure.
I only got a 14, so.
Do you want my assistance?
I'll also investigate.
Okay.
I got. Hey, dirty 20.
Ew,
18
isn't-
plus 2.
Yeah, mine's an 18 because it was a 19 minus 1.
I got a 16.
An 18 is 6. Was an 18 the highest?
No, 20, dirty 20.
Oh, 20.
18
Okay,
plus
Nimue.
2.
So Nimue, you kind of find this murder beard. You spot it right as she like kind of grabs her hand on it. So the cannons, right, like there is the sort of like portholes, right, that like the cannons are pushed out of when you go to fire them and stuff. And there's sort of like kind of the track that they sit in. And when they're not in use, they're sort of rolled back and they're tied down to keep them from rolling around and when the weather gets bad, like slamming about. And there are ropes that tie these cannons down to keep them secured. And you find the rope that was holding, or two, there's like a pair of ropes kind of holding this cannon down. Go and you kind of pick up the ends of those ropes, and you find that they were properly secured. However, you hold the ends of these ropes, and you kind of look at them, and you don't, like, they're not, like, frayed, like they, like, wore out and snapped. They are cleanly cut. Somebody cut the ropes of these cannons. Somebody has sabotaged these cannons or this cannon to loose it from its moorings in its track to create a situation where it could roll and slide and break free and have exactly what happened happen.
Captain.
Oh. Looks to me like this was clearly sabotaged.
What happened to your accent just there?
I don't know. I think I got confused with the guys who were just talking before.
I got a little cockney there for a second.
Oh, I know. I don't know what happened. I think I bumped my head. Clearly it was sabotage. Play this, then the Beastie Boys begins to play.
Yeah.
Can I just double check the other holdings to see if any others are cut?
Yeah, make an investigation check.
Anyone want to help me?
I'll give you assistance since I don't roll that well.
I don't roll that well either. Oh, 10. That was a 1 and whatever, 8.
On a cursory inspection, all of the cannons are, like, in the position that they are supposed to be.
Normally, I would say I don't want to point fingers, but at this point, I really don't care anymore. I give you all one guess who you think did this.
Whatever. Hmm.
The
That-
fish girl?
What's her name?
Hagen?
Kiriskra.
Curious. Yeah.
Yeah, where is she right now? Is she in the room? Is she anywhere?
She's not where you guys are now.
Well, we have to figure out who did it regardless, so I think it's time for a discussion.
Okay. Are you guys, you're wanting to go towards, okay, hang on. I was in the wrong section. So you guys are looking for, Kiriskra.
Yeah, was she staying like at the bottom of the ship?
She hangs out in the bilge, yes, because she is semi-aquatic. She needs to be, wetted down periodically. She's got to be damp occasionally. Okay, so like as a group, you guys are just like look good down. Okay, you guys head down. She's down there. You guys kind of find her like in what you gauge to be like a Sahajin kind of like version of a meditative prayer pose. She's just sort of like almost like a crocodile. She's like mostly submerged in the water. There's maybe like 5-6 inches of water in the bilge down here, and she's sort of like laying down in it. And you guys kind of like storm down the ladder into here.
Does she have belongings? Like, does she have a space for her stuff?
She has no stuff.
What is like what is everyone else's vibe right now? Is it like have a conversation or is it like
Nimway's
shove
really
this bitch up against a wall?
Nimway's really grumpy, so honestly, probably the latter.
Both.
Okay. So you just like fully go across and like scoop her out of the bilge and like slam her against the inside of the hull.
I mean, Nimue wants to, but she's not strong enough to.
Scylla will. So if Scylla can tell, and I think she can,
Yeah.
that Emily wants to fight, Scylla
Yeah.
will literally grab this bitch by the little fin that runs down her back and pull her out.
Okay, so you like haul her up and like slam her against the sort of the inner wall.
This is so mean. I love it.
The sort of like the not gills, the like whatever you would call the like sort of like dorsal fin, sort of like that like spined fin on like either side of her head, like along the top of her head, kind of like flares out, and she like draws back her her lips and the sort of like catfish-esque tendrils that protrude from either side of her face, displaying her extremely sharp teeth as she gives like a at you, but she is nowhere near strong enough to like force you, like to be able to like push you off of her. So you have her pinned against the wall, Sela.
I mean, I snarl back at her for effect.
Absolutely.
I'm just going to quickly look around this area to see if I can find a source of cutting materials, either on her person or around this area, hidden somewhere.
Sure. Make an investigation check.
Naporia die, please. Okay, not bad. 18. 16 plus 2.
You kind of like feel around in the water a little bit with probably like your feet as you're sort of walking through the bilge here. You kind of go over to her. You probably pat her down. You don't find anything like concealed in this area. You don't find anything on her person. But with that 18, I mean, I would probably say like that 18 is good enough that like, even though you don't find anything, like her teeth, like she has shark teeth essentially. Like her teeth would easily bite through a piece of rope. If she was so inclined.
Does that seem like the type of cut? Like, is that like a...
Possible. Certainly possible.
I'm going to take a piece of rope from somewhere on the ship and hold it out to her, and I say, bite it through.
She's, I think we've established she only speaks Sahaugen, right?
I will mind link. Bite it through.
So you sort of say that. The rest of you kind of hear her like, in her language, kind of hiss out this like. In your mind, Nimue, you kind of hear this like, you get a response which is like, you're generally used to like verbal telepathic communication back. You get just sort of this like hammer of like rebelliousness of like, fuck off, I'm not doing what you tell me. Like, you get the sense that she is like, you guys came down here and like Sela slammed her against the wall. She is like, she has like, the hackles are fully up, and she is like, I will kill anybody that I can before I die. Like, fuck you guys, I'm not cooperating. You're not even sure that she like fully comprehended what you told her to do. That's how like primal like rage predator brain that this Sahaugen priestess is right now.
I need to know mentally. I need to know if you were the one who sabotaged. Prove me wrong. Bite this place.
She kind of like sort of like looks at you. You get like, she's like kind of cocks her head. Nimwe's like throat is hand is like at her neck. She says, sorry, Sela. She says like mentally. She says,
Sabotage. What?
Oh, she doesn't understand the word?
She doesn't seem the concept of sabotage like registers with her. She doesn't seem to know what that means.
Big boom machine. Ropes cut. Did you do it or no?
No.
Do I believe her?
An insight check.
What? Hell yeah. 19 plus 3. 21.
She thinks you are the world's biggest asshole.
Yeah, that's probably true.
You the sense that you get for I actually I read something the other day. Like, I'm trying not to use insight. An insight check is like the lie detector skill, right? So I think what you see from her is that, like, the fact that you all barged down here and just like fucking slammed her against the wall and started interrogating her is like, she seems confused as to what's going on, and she absolutely hates all of your guts. I think that's what you get with that insight check.
And she already hated us, so.
I mean, she definitely already hated your guys' guts. She extra hates your guts right now. Like,
Bring her upstairs.
Will release her from the wall, but I'm gonna kind of just be like,
okay, I think she'll go along with you guys. Generally, you're leading her back up to where the cannon was. Okay, so you sort of like push her back up there. You bring her up to like this empty cannon track. She just is like looking at this blankly.
Am I wrong? Tell me I'm wrong.
She kind of like cocks her head at you. She says,
I do not know what you want, mongrel.
I don't know what I want either. I lift the rope. Did you do this? Yes or no?
make a persuasion or intimidation, your choice.
Oh, why'd I roll 2? Hang on. Well, how do I want to do this? I feel like she's backing down. Like, I feel like the rage is kind of settling. She's really realizing how she's behaving, so she won't do intimidation, even though intimidation's way better than persuasion. So that's just a flat 15.
A 15. Okay, I think with a 15, I'm going to let that insight check roll from earlier. You gather that, like, the immediate fury at your guys' like, coming in and just, like, fucking with her is kind of subsiding, and now she's, like, more curious about what's going... Like, her curiosity seems to starting to get the better of her. And she sort of, like, looks around, you ask her this, and she says, she sort of, like, looks back to you, this sort of, like, beady black, like, shark eyes, and, like, she, like, turns towards you, and she says, I don't remember if this was the voice that she had initially, but this is what we're going with now. She is.
What happened here?
She kind of like, she looks at you again. She as you don't answer immediately. She says,
Your metal device is gone. She says, she says, you see her sort of like, her tongue kind of like licks out, her gills kind of flick. She says, I taste the blood. What's happened here?
I will try to, probably because words aren't easy for her, I will try to mentally visualize the scene that I came upon
Okay.
to her and kind of push that into her mind and then show the 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 ropes that were supposed to keep that secure, to keep that blood from spilling, because if the ropes were secure, blood would not spill.
Okay.
So I'm trying to like make it very basic for her to understand.
Okay. So all of you guys, she like, you know, this telepathic communication happens, and then Kyuzgra begins like kind of making this sound out loud, just like sort of like and after a moment you realize she's just laughing. And Nimue, in your mind, you also get this like this sense of like sort of like vindictive mirth that like somebody on your crew got mangled. But she says via your link, she says, I had no part of this.
But you wish you had now, yeah?
She sort of like very quickly like changes gears from this like kind of like mocking laughter to like this almost offended like she says, I am Sergeant. I slay my prey face to face. This beneath me. When you die by my hand, you will look into my eyes as your lifeblood drains from your veins. No, pathetic cretin. I did not do this. I would not disparage myself so.
That I believe and that I respect. I apologize.
You apologize, and she. What's Nimue's armor class?
That's fair. She's not wearing her armor properly, so
10 plus dex.
10 plus X?
Oh, 10 plus dex, 14.
Yeah, if you're not wearing armor.
You say I apologize. She goes and spits in your face. And goes, do not lower yourself. I will kill you when I am ready.
I use protective field to glance it off.
Yes.
As a reaction. But like, nope.
So the spit goes like off to the side.
Ah!
Shit, sorry.
Prestidigitation, clean it off.
So after kind of a few moments, she sort of like looks down at your, you know, like kind of whoever it is that's sort of like holding her in place currently, and she goes, "Are you finished?"
We're finished, I say out loud.
Okay. And are you like setting her down?
I don't have her.
Sela has her, I believe.
Oh, I mean, okay, so she's been set down, like, but
I assumed somebody was like kind of like holding
Oh yeah,
her
like
a
hand
little.
on the shoulder.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, if Nimue tells me to let her go, I'll let her go.
Right. Oh, jeez.
Huh?
Stream just got jacked up.
Oh,
okay.
it's just Christy.
Just huge Christy.
All of the blocks.
Hello?
Okay. She sort of like straightens her, her kind of like robes or her clothing garments. And she sort of looks at the empty space where the cannon was, and she looks at the blood stain on the floor, and she heads back towards like the ladder that leads down to the bilge, and she begins to climb down.
Before she climbs down,
Sure.
can I do something? I cannot clearly communicate with this individual, but I will say to Nimue, Nimue, can you help me out with this?
Sure.
And I'm going to start using prestidigitation and thaumaturgy to create a visual scene. I can create trinkets with that last about a minute with my spells, and thaumaturgy allows me to do like simple sounds and simple like a little bit of puff of smoke or something like that. I want to first produce an image of the Grimm's Folly.
Okay.
And then I will have try to position it to where it looks like some enemy vessels are closing in, and then I'm going to make cannon fire, like of those cannons that she would recognize, and little puffs of smoke. And then I will also illustrate the Grimm's Folly sinking.
Okay.
And then I'll just simply look at her and say, "You're aboard this vessel too? We have people hunting us. If you value your life, you'll help and work with us." I know she can't understand any of that.
I translate.
I
that's
assume
what he
Nimue
would say.
seriously.
Mhm.
Make
Go.
a Thixus, make a persuasion check.
Okay. I will use my point of inspiration and give myself advantage on this roll.
Okay.
Oh, I forgot I had. Hell yeah, boy!
That is a 23.
23. Kiriskra pauses on the ladder for a moment as the message is translated to her. She sort of like, you kind of see the sort of like flicker in the sort of fully black shark eyes of, you create this sort of like this smoky simulacrum of one ship and another ship, and the cannon fire and the first ship sinking. And you relay this message, and Nimue translates it for you. She watches this for a moment, and she turns and she looks to you, and she says, simultaneously, like out loud in her language and mentally Nimue to you, so that like the message can be relayed. She says,
One of us here can breathe underwater. Demon.
and her eyes flick towards you, Nimue, and she says,
If one, then your metal object hit dies. Bring them to me. It has been too long since I have had fresh meat.
and she descends the ladder. But Thixus, you see something kind of like flicker across her expression just before she like uttered this horrible statement. That like you're pretty sure you kind of interpret as like the idea that like the Grimm's folly goes down and the group of you are just like into the drink is not satisfactory to her. And she descends the ladder and disappears.
That's it. Next time, I'm just gonna have Movar throw the cannon at her.
Okay. So I think this kind of like this scene dissolves before our eyes here. This night, this event, this clear sabotage occurred to the cannon, and your guys' kind of prime suspect. As far as your sort of initial investigation goes here, seems not to have been the culprit, as far as you can tell. And this, will proceed to be a mystery. You don't really know what the cause of this was for now. And the journey continues. And I
would probably go to the cabin's quarters that night and like get into the captain's alcohol and just drink.
Sure.
I'm literally gonna beat your ass if it wasn't like basically like the time for stuff to be over. I would literally like just turn into an ape and just go and beat your ass.
Yeah.
She would literally do that.
Bend over.
Somebody put in the notes that like the alcohol is well locked up and Nimue is gonna have to get past Murderbeard to get to it. So she's not just like waltzing in there.
For the notes,
We'll try.
is Scylla beating up Nimue, and is Nimue able to get to the alcohol? Is my question.
For the notes,
It was being a brat, fam. I'm sorry.
I think that's where we start next time.
Here's what I want to end on. Probably the only alcohol on board is definitely not in Murderbeard's private stock. Like, you're on a pirate ship. There's booze. The good stuff is there, but like, if you need to get the job done, there is stuff accessible. Like, Nimue can get her hands on something, sure. The next day, the weather has cleared up a little bit. The night was a little rough with the weather and the rocking of the boat and everything like that. The next day, Nimue, you are nursing a headache, and as you had established, you are kind of being a shitlord. You are not, your armor is not maintained. You're not doing your katas. You just like totally blew off your training session with the twins, and you were just like moping somewhere on the, like the prow of the ship, just kind of like looking out over the ocean. And you are disturbed from this kind of like emo reverie that you are in by the sound of footfalls approaching on the deck. They come to about within 10 paces of you and stop.
Look behind me.
Kenna is standing there. Arms folded like this.
Not today, Kenna.
She says in common, out loud, surprisingly. She says, "We do not get to pick the day."
I turn and lean on the edge of the ship. What did you just say?
She says, "You are..." She seems to be struggling for the word of like what you are. And she kind of like looks back to you.
I'll give her the mind link.
And she is like her, like you see like her nostrils are like flaring, and then you like give her the mind link. She's, fucking
Try again.
thankfully, she's like, thank you, please, Jesus. She gets this like kind of like obstinate, sort of like, you knew what I wanted, jerk.
Yeah.
And she goes like, you are going ashore to the city of the elf. You are come back. You are mope about. You smell of drink. This is 2 days. You are in their city. My whole life I live there. Was it hard for you? Was it sad there? Something you not like happen? Fuck you! You want to teach me! You want to help me to get strong! Something you not like happen and you cannot teach me anymore? You do not know? You do not know what I know? My parents are dead! They're dead! What will I do? I will get stronger, and I will go back, and I will kill everyone who this is to me! You want to teach me this? You want to teach me this?
I will slowly approach her and kneel. Yes, Kenna. Fuck me. I did wrong. I did you wrong. My twin. My brother. My other half was taken. I may not know your sorrow, but a small part understands. My heart understands yours. I know you need to protect your brother. And I will make it so.
She says, he does not know.
He does
Kiva
not
does not know. He was asleep. He did not see. He did not see.
What did you see, Kenna?
She shakes her head and she says, no.
Who?
She
Who did
shakes her
that
head.
to you?
Shakes her head again. She's, I do not know.
Okay.
I do not know.
That's okay that you do not know. We will find it. Together, yeah?
And
Give me 30 minutes to get rid of this headache and I will do whatever you need me for.
She says, you know, as you're kind of like asking her, like, who did this? You know, what did you see? You know, what do you know that your brother doesn't? You know, you kind of see her. She's not willing to. She doesn't seem willing to talk about it with you, but you can see sort of like behind her eyes the you know, the memories replaying, and you kind of say, you know, give me time. Let me clear my head. Let me, I will do this. And you can see as you start to kind of like lose her, right? Like she starts to like dissociate from the conversation that you were having with her, and you watch as her, like her.
Alright, All right, let it out.
And you know, as you sort of like move to comfort her, you see like the breathing quickens, and
I
you have
lift
seen this
my
once
hand.
before. You saw it happen with Sela. Her pupils go
Yeah, I lift
super
my hand.
wide,
And brace.
and they shrink back to like pinpoints, and she lets out this like scream, and I need you to make a dex save.
I think she's gonna take it.
Okay.
I feel like Nimue gonna beat
Choose
herself
to
up
fail. No
via
problem.
Kenna and take it.
She lets out this sort of scream, and the irises of her eyes, like the pupil is almost non-existent, so it almost looks like, oop, I just messed up the stream again. Her, like, the irises of her eyes turn sort of like a sea foamy, kind of like bluish, tealish, that you recognize as like the exact color of that like very fine layer of fur that covers Sela's furball body. She lets out this like
Right.
scream, and a crackle of like electricity just like ripples across her body, and like a mini little lightning bolt just strikes from her, like spreading out in this wave, and like hits you. You take 3 points of lightning damage,
I take it, yeah.
and your whole like you feel every muscle like convulse, and Kenna passes out unconscious and just falls onto the deck. You sort of like
Can I
get her
make a
and
dex
keep.
save to make sure she doesn't hit her head?
No, you catch her. You keep her from just like cracking her whole face on the deck. You catch her. She goes fully unconscious.
Yeah, okay, I deserve that. Kind of just reach out in my mind. Rowan, you around here somewhere?
I will just start running. Responding, where are you?
Deck, top deck.
I run up and run over, immediately confused. And I,
So there's like a ring of like burned
yeah.
deck around Nimue, and Nimue's hair is probably like crazy, and an unconscious halfling adolescent is just like in her arms, like ragdolled.
What happened? And I just kneel next to Nimue.
I fucked up like I always do, so.
You do not fuck up. That is my job on this ship. And I
Can
just,
we,
hmm?
can we take her to maybe captain's quarters, somewhere quiet? I don't want her brother seeing her like that.
Yeah, and I help Nimue. I assume, do you want me to carry her, or you got her?
I'm pretty weak. You carry her.
Okay, I take Kenna, and I just let Nimue lead. We go right to captain's quarters.
Okay. You guys, Murderbeard, are you in the captain's quarters right now?
Yeah.
Okay. So the two of them come in carrying this unconscious child.
I just, as soon as the door is shut, I lay her on the ground very carefully.
Oh boy, what did you do?
I don't. We'll talk about that later, and I just cast Cure Wounds on her to try to wake her up.
Yeah, I mean, you do that, you feel kind of like the magic flow out from you. You don't get the sense that like she is injured in any way.
Hurt,
Like there's
yeah.
nothing like to knit back together or to mend.
She just
She's
like
tired.
overexerted herself.
But it
with
seems
that
to be
med?
seems to be the case that like she
I
just
will-
like
I will describe to Rowan and Murderbeard what I saw when her pupils dilated and the electricity that came with the rage, the anger.
Would
I don't
would let-
really give you context onto why she was angry, but I do tell you that she was angry.
out of character question for the DM, would Lesser Restoration fix her waking up? Because I'm concerned for this child right now.
I think just to like put your sort of put your mind at ease, like You
okay.
you put this cure on her, like she's not physically injured or wounded in any way. Like as you're kind of looking at her and you're concerned, you're kind of like, oh, do I need to do more magic or whatever? Like she's breathing. She's she's not like convulsing or anything that would like put you in immediate harm. Like it, you get the sense that she very much is just like
Drained.
passed out. Like she has just like absolutely wiped herself of all reserves of energy, and she just needs to rest.
Is she okay?
I think she's just tired. Whatever she did, I think it just drained her. The magic, there was nothing to heal. She didn't get hurt. I think she's just very tired. And I kind of just like, I shift from like crouching over her to like kind of kneeling and keeping her head in my lap so that she's like more comfortable. And I stay there in case she wakes up and needs to be held or does get hurt somehow. And I'm just ready to be there.
Okay. So I think on the image of the captain's quarters of sort of Rowan, kneeling on the ground, the head of this young halfling adolescent Kenna, kind of in her lap, sort of stroking her hair and looking over her. Nimue, down on the ground beside you, kind of like looking on, concerned. Murderbeard, perhaps standing a half step behind, looking onto this scene, and I think reminded of many years ago and your own life, your own experiences with younger young children trying to navigate their way through an impossible situation. The three of you sort of like looking on this unconscious young girl who has experienced something undoubtedly impossibly large for her to be able to cope with. We sort of zoom out and away, over the Grimm's Folly and across the deck of the ship and over the sea and into the sort of like cloud and storm filled sky. And we as the audience see the Grimm's Folly, the ship just tossed upon the waves in an immensely, immeasurably large sea, this insignificant speck in a immeasurably large world. And we are reminded of the struggles that are monumental on the personal level and the scale of the world at large. And we see the Ignean fleet back in the harbor at Umyath Durai making preparations to make sail, to weigh anchor and head underway. We see McCrawl aboard the deck of the ship looking off to the west. Elsewhere we see a group of strangers to our party gathered around a table having a conversation with someone clearly of a status highly elevated above their own. And we see all of Agiria balanced finely on the point of a needle, ready to topple one way or the other. And that is where we'll end tonight's session. So, I want to thank you guys, my players, for joining me tonight. As always, it is a delight to DM for you. I want to thank you guys at home for sticking with us and watching. It is the sort of the great joy of my very life that I can share some creativity and some fun and some escapism with you guys at home. Thank you, of course, to Proficiency Bonus for allowing us to come on here and play our game every week. And join us next Tuesday, shortly following the Christmas holiday, for the Fool's Errand, as they are in quite a pickle of their own. And then the following week for the next chapter of the Grimm's Follies Cruise adventures. So, thank you to our sponsors, Little Dragon Corp and Cardboard Castle. One more round of thank yous to my players, to you guys at home, to, I don't know,
And thank you, Matt, for running.
oh, hey,
Hell yeah.
don't mention it. Thank you to Twitch, thank you to everybody. I don't know, who knows. We will be.
I don't know the context, but Scythian Nightingale just said in chat the phrase "a proverbial barrel of pickles," and I just want that to be out there for whether it
know
was
what that
thank
means either.
yous or just a statement. I just want to make sure it's out there.
I don't know what
Nobody
that
knows.
means either. So.
Nobody
Probably
knows.
it probably has probably in
General
reference
insanity.
to the Fool's Errand being in
Nope.
quite a pickle.
It's not.
No, okay.
Oh no.
Listen,
Has nothing
next
to do
week.
with-
Join us next week. See if that pickles reference turns out to be relevant to the whole meta plot of the whole thing.
It doesn't. Spoiler alert.
Spoiler alert, it doesn't. Well, we will see you next time. I love you all, and until we reconvene again for the next chapter, I will bid you adieu, and I will see you next Tuesday.
Hell
Goodbye,
yeah.
everybody.
Love you, bye.